Hi, everyone. Welcome to our 30-minute lunchtime boost. We hope these have been a bright spot in your day, coming to you every Wednesday and Friday in June. I'm your host, Jen Maseda, the CEO of She's Local, the organization that brings you accessible, relevant, and relatable local conferences and now digital live engagement opportunities. And we are connecting women, local women, to inspire and move them along whatever path they choose. On today's boost, we are talking with two local experts about simplifying our lives. Who couldn't need a little bit of that? And clean and organized living. Exactly. From our Merrimack Valley community, we are talking with Eileen Kelly Reed. Eileen is an organizing and productivity coach. And since creating Simplify with Eileen in 2009, Eileen has been helping small businesses and individual clients thrive, not just survive, but thrive in a life free from clutter, chaos, and distraction. And from our South Shore community, please welcome Alyssa Colburn. Alyssa is a professional organizer and healthy living educator. Alyssa is passionate, and when I say she's passionate, she's gone all the way to the State House multiple times. This is how passionate she is. She's passionate about helping her clients on their path to creating a more organized and healthier lifestyle. Thank you, Eileen and Alyssa, for joining us today.
Thank you, Jen.
Absolutely. Okay, we have a lot to cover, so let's get right into it. Eileen, let's start with you. How do we even begin to get organized?
Okay, so that's the million-dollar question, right? So in my 10 years of this work, what I have found is that honestly, it's less about organizing, it's more about having less to organize. That's kind of where the magic is. We live in a culture that's so more oriented, you know, have more, do more, be more, and it's such a lie. So if we really just work on the simplifying part first, then we can organize and then we can thrive. But just, I think, you know, also one of the big things is, what's your why? Knowing why you want to simplify, reclaim space, you know, live a little bit more intentionally with less. The why, once you have that, the how becomes so much easier.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely. Alyssa, now you are big into safe and effective cleaning products, lifestyle habits. What are some products that are safe but also effective?
Okay, so that's a thing that comes up often. People are worried, if I switch to these non-toxic products, are they going to work? But now, I'm not going to say I haven't tried some that didn't work, but there are plenty of non-toxic cleaning products out there that work. I work with a line, the EcoSense line, and they have everything from your all-purpose cleaner. I have this ready to show everyone, and it comes with concentrate. And these are essential oil based, and you add water to it, and they really do work. And there's also disinfectants that you can use that are non-toxic. And that's so important because it really affects your overall health. When you're breathing in these cleaning products all the time, everybody's talking about cleaning, disinfecting right now because we really want to stay healthy and stay safe. But we actually could be harming ourselves by, you know, ingesting these things. And they don't just come in from breathing, they come in through our skin too. Because every time we clean, our skin it absorbs, it's like a sponge. So getting those changes done in your home is really important. It can help symptoms of allergies, asthma, headaches. People can have all kinds of symptoms that they'll blame on environmental allergies outdoors. Sometimes, you know, they'll say, well, my allergies last year round. It could be something inside your home. And another one that I always suggest changing is the laundry products. That's really important. You sleep on them. You wear them all day. Those products, they're part of your body. You're constantly exposed to them. So it's really important. And there's a great study that everyone can look up. It was done by the Thoracic Society's American Journal of Respiratory and Critical Care Medicine. This was a 20-year study. and it found that when people were exposed to these chemicals like chlorine bleach, quaternary disinfectant, just once per week, it had the same negative impact on lung capacity as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. And yes, that is a day. So check out that study. It's called the Lung study. Pretty easy to remember. And I think that once you read that, you won't even think twice about making the change. It's worth it.
Thanks, Alyssa. You know, I do want to remind people that we have a She's Local Boost Facebook private page. So if you want to get in there, I will get with Alyssa and we'll put that link to the article right in there, and that'll be helpful. I'm going to put you to the test here, Alyssa. What do you use that everyday spray on? Do you use it to clean your stovetop?
I use that to clean really everything, my countertop, my stovetop. It works. I also use it for like gardening purposes, which is really cool because I've used it for poison ivy. We live next to conservation land. We have tons of nature around. Sometimes, you know, there's certain bugs that are not always helpful in the garden. I can use that. And even like if you get the little bugs in your plants at home inside, you can use it for that, because the bugs don't like the essential oils, but it's not going to harm the plants. So I use that for so many different things. But the line that I use, it really covers, there's a bathroom cleaner, a toilet bowl cleaner, a degreaser. So there really is all of the options.
And we're going to put that in the Facebook Boost page too, the cleaning supply and the essential oils. You know, something that tell me if you can provide some insight into the scents that people use in their home. You know, instead, what should you be spraying? What shouldn't you be spraying?
Yeah, so when we're talking about air quality, that's really important. And I think, you know, maybe now people are getting them out more, but over the past few months, we've been home a lot more. And the air quality inside our home is actually much worse than outside oftentimes, which people don't realize because you think, well, all the cars and that's going to bring pollution. But in our homes, if we're using those toxic chemicals, it really does reduce the air quality. So you can do a few things. You switch to the non-toxic products. You can use diffuse essential oils, and that does two things. That purifies the air, but it can also reduce allergens in the air. And then stop using candles. Stop using plug-ins.
No, don't say that.
I know, okay, but hold on. Now, if you really, really love candles, I usually suggest that people switch to diffusing essential oils, and people do fall in love. But if you can find a good beeswax-based or soy-based candle that uses essential oils for the scent, that is safer. And, you know, just make sure that they are, sometimes it will say fragrance oils. Those aren't essential oils. You really want to make sure that you're getting it from a quality source that are using the pure essential oils. Also using an air filtration system. That's a great way to just keep the air pure, especially this time of year, like all the pollen, that can reduce some of the pollen that's going to be covering your furniture. And then adding plants in. So get some plants in your house. Like I think I've added over the past few months, probably like 6 plants. I'm like, I might have a little bit of a problem. But spider plants, big plants, peace lily, English ivy, mother-in-law's ton. Those are some great plants. There's tons of them out there. And you can look at the NASA Clean Air Study, and that has some information about what they found when they used these plants to see what were the effects on the air purity. And it's good for your mental health.
Yes, I think so too. All right, let's get to organizing and prioritizing and reducing the chaos and that clutter. Should we be doing this all at once, Eileen?
I advise no. I think that too many of us have probably like opened the door to the basement and said, I'm going after this. And it's just so overwhelming and daunting and gigantic that you just shut the door and you're like, I don't know where to start. I don't even know how to start. Before I just dive into that, I want to piggyback on what Alyssa's saying about just health and cleanliness. think about, you know, that basement or that pile in the corner of the room or your big walk-in closet. Like if there's so much stuff piled and on the floor, you can't clean it. So that also, clutter really stands in our way of being able to stay on top of cleaning and helping our indoor environments be as clean and healthy as they can be. So what I always suggest is small bites. Like there is a way to eat an elephant and it's one bite at a time. So let's say, for instance, your walk-in closet is like driving you bananas. You are so frustrated every time you open it, you're rifling through, there's so much stuff and bags and things. Just start with one thing. Just start maybe on Saturday morning. I'm going to go in there with my cup of coffee. I'm going to sit down and all I'm going to do is look at my shoes. That's it. Shoes. And there's going to be toss, donate, sell, toss, keep, donate. Make your piles. Like in 20 minutes, you could pretty much get on top of your shoes, enjoy your coffee, and then you're like, check, success, productivity. I did something. That's a win. And then maybe Sunday afternoon, everybody's out taking a walk, and you're like, I got this little slice of time. Oh, I'm just going to go in and I'm just going to look at my dresses or my bathing suits. But if we take these small bites and just get those wins and we string enough of those together, you know, it's a game changer. And it builds momentum, it builds your confidence, it builds what I call your chuck muscle. Because one of my favorite sayings is, when in doubt, chuck it out. So if you're kind of waffling between that pair of shoes that's wicked cute, costs a lot of money, you haven't worn them in 3 years, you know, just release them, but small bites. And that's a good strategy, I think, to kind of prevent that overwhelm, that daunting feeling of, I don't want to hijack my entire weekend in the attic. You know, we've all got bigger and better things to do with our time.
Yes. And how do we make this a habit or make it part of our schedule?
Yes. Well, I am a huge fan of scheduling. Like it works for us in work, right? We schedule a meeting. We schedule the fact that we want to be on the She's Local lunch boost today. When we sort of prioritize and make a commitment to things, like we can schedule 20 minutes or a half an hour a few times a week to take care of some of the big, niggly, horrible, you know, areas in our life. And what I have found in my 10 years is that once you get this sort of momentum and you get these wins and you start reclaiming, like all of a sudden that corner is clear and it's not a pile of delayed decisions anymore, it really will boost you to wanting to do more. But again, you know, just schedule it in. It's use the tools and things that are successful for you in other areas of your life and apply them to organizing.
It's perfect. I love how you say delayed decisions.
Well, they are, you know, oh yeah, we'll meet over there tomorrow. Yeah. Tomorrow and yesteryear. Those are things we tend to sort of push off, and in reality, it robs us of our ability to fully live today in the present.
Yeah. Alyssa, you talked about plants inside, and I know that you're constantly outside hiking with the kids and your husband. Tell us a bit about self-care and organizing outside and gardening, and how that really impacts our health and our well-being and our vision of organization and chaos for ourselves.
Yeah, so I love what Eileen said about like getting a project done and then like having that cup of coffee. So we have to reward ourselves, like in the process of organizing. Sometimes I think it can be really stressful as you're going through it sometimes, but in the end, it's so worth it. But you have to make it achievable and take the time to step outside. If you have a nice day and you're doing projects inside, do the closet or, you know, do a few hours and then step outside. So I'm a big fan of just outdoor activity and nature. We know that this is healthy for us. It does a lot of things, you know, vitamin D synthesis from the sun, but the fresh air is so important in nature. Like hearing the birds chirp and taking that time for the mindful experience of being outside, it's so healthy for us. And gardening, you're getting right down in the dirt. You're touching the plants. You're seeing the bugs. It's all so good for you, and it's a huge stress reliever. And, you know, if you really enjoy gardening, but you know that you have some organizing projects inside, say, you know what, I'm going to do this project for 2 hours, and then I'm going to take 2 hours outside in the garden. Like, use that as your reward and your motivation, because maybe you really need to get to the garden too. And you see you're going to want to get out there and get your other projects done. But that's small, attainable goals, you know.
What I love about gardening, sorry to just, you and I spoke about it, Alyssa, is that gardening is like super organized. Like you don't just throw your tomatoes and your lettuce and your, you know, you don't just like throw them all in the dirt. You know, they have to be, you know, in rows and kind of so many inches apart. And it's a beautiful sort of like organic and natural example of just what good things can come when you sort of put a little bit of, you know, order and structure in things. But yeah, that's just another slant on it.
We had a boost with Coach D. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. And we all actually went outside on the boost, and she encouraged us to put our feet on the warm soil and said that she does that every morning, and it just lifts her and begins her day. And if you have a chance to be outside and be one with the soil, it sounds a little hokey, but man, it works.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right, and now it's a time, exciting time in our boost for all of you to be able to ask questions of our experts, Alyssa and Eileen. So if you have a question, if you would go down to the bottom of your Zoom screen and hit the reaction button, give us a thumbs up, give us a clappy hands, and we will come directly to you. Kathy, you are up, lady. There you go.
I have a question for Alyssa, I think, on essential oils. Like there's so many out there, and some are so expensive and some aren't expensive. And what should we look for, and what are the best ones to buy?
Yeah, so I work with the Pure line of essential oils. They're pretty affordable compared to some other companies. There's also some great ones that you can get at local health food stores. Aura Cassia is one that comes to mind that is pretty affordable and good quality. I never recommend getting them from Amazon. I've had a lot of people tell me they've had them spoil or burn them. So quality is so important. And let me just say, if you decide to embark on this journey, like this is, you can see the shelf here. These are my essential oils. I've been adding for as long as I began. I learn something new every day. It's such a fun thing to do, but you have to really make sure that you're getting it from quality sources and using them properly, because some people suggest ingesting them, and you have to be careful with diffusing them around certain ones for children. So it's really good to make sure that if it's something you want to do, that you make sure you're doing your research or speaking to someone who's qualified. I'm working on my certification for essential oils, but I have just self-taught, learned this information over 10 years. It's something to be careful with, but it's really fun. And as far as the quality and the price, you know, some companies will say therapeutic grade and all these different things. It's really not regulated. So just because something says therapeutic grade, like you don't need to pay more money just for that, because it really doesn't matter. So you can get this stuff at Whole Foods or from a place that's more affordable, and you're still going to get good quality because they come from mostly the same source. There's not too many distilleries in way. But some companies, because of their model, their business plan, they offer them a little bit more affordably. The company I work with is debt-free, so they have a little bit more leverage with their pricing. And like our Acacia, that's a great brand that's been around for a really long time. Rose Mountain Herbals, I could probably go on forever. There are good brands out there, but do your research, and you know, I can provide anybody resources on that and find a good fit for them.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Kathy. That was great. All right, anyone else with a question? If you are on the phone, you're welcome to type in the chat as well. We'd love to answer any more questions that you have. Okay, Sylvia, we're coming to you.
There we go. Hi, everyone. Thanks. So question, with the essential oils, are those safe for pets? I mean, I have 2 dogs and a cat. So just curious as to, is there a certain brand? Is there a certain, you know, that we have to look for when you have animals in the home?
That's a great question. And it's kind of like a tricky question to answer. There's a lot of factors that go into it. So for cats, they have different sensitivities to dogs. And also the size of your pet. So if you have a really big dog, they might be okay with certain oils where like a small dog might be sensitive. So I always say, don't put your animal in a room that they can't get out of. So make sure that if they don't like it, they'll walk away. Animals are really smart. So they'll be like, I'm out of here. And also they might like it. They might get some benefits from the essential oils. The other thing is some spicy ones like cinnamon. I'll provide a list, but there are a few that really you don't want to use, say like 6 drops in your diffuser of cinnamon, because like the dog's going to be like overwhelmed by it. But also just watch their behavior. So if you diffuse something and anything seems off with your pet, then you can pretty much say, okay, it's probably the essential oil. But it's not, it's like the dogs just have different senses than we do. So it's really more powerful to them than it is for us. But there is a lot of misinformation. Some people are really afraid to use essential oils because they don't want to hurt their pets. But like I said, just pay attention to their behavior. They'll let you know.
All right, we're going to
Awesome.
go to, thanks, Sylvia. That was a great question. Lynn, coming to you, lady.
Hello, everybody. I've got a question. Does anybody know if any of the donation centers like Savers are open again for donations? Because I've got a trunk full of stuff I've been driving around in my car with, you know, for months now, waiting for them to open again. Anybody know?
I do. I've been monitoring this really quickly, Lynn. Great question. Yes. So all throughout the pandemic, pretty much Epilepsy Foundation has been doing their usual curbside pickup. So you can go online or call the Epilepsy Foundation of New England, and they will come easy peasy. You just leave it at the curbside with maybe a tarp on it. Savers, I do not believe is open. I don't even think the restores should be Habitat for Humanity. If they're not open already, they should be open soon. But like Mission of Deeds and Beverly Bootstrap, some of the little boutique-y ones, not open yet. The bins, the drop boxes that are just everywhere throughout your towns for shoes, clothing, and books, those are a great option for donating your items. I've seen the boxes being picked up by the donation trucks too, so that's an option. And then thirdly, your social media, Free Cycle, Porch Pickup, those types of things, maybe on Facebook. You can just say, hey, there's 2 dressers at the bottom of the driveway at 10 Elm Street, and people will come pick them up. And let's not wait for the perfect place to donate. Sometimes I find that my clients, the piles grow and they're waiting for like the perfect thing. Put things out into the universe and just trust that they're going to land into the hands of the person who needs them most. But those are just 3 options that might work for you right now. Thanks.
That's great, Eileen. Thank you. Also, you mentioned toss, keep, and,
Donate,
and
toss,
donate.
toss, keep, donate, sell.
Sell,
Sometimes
right?
sell can be an option if it's like a pair of Chanel shoes, you know, high end that you've really never worn, or maybe the tags are on. But yeah, keep, toss, donate, and sell.
That is really helpful. Are there any other organization products that we should be thinking about that might be helpful, or is that a myth? You don't need more stuff to put stuff in.
Yes and no. Alyssa, I'll give you a chance on that in a sec, but you know, yes, what I find is that, you know, 9.9 out of 10 times my clients have the proper things. They have too much items, but sometimes if you've got a deep cavernous cabinet, anything that spins, whether it's like a flat turnstile thing or even one with a lip, do I have one here? Those are awesome, you know, for those deep cavernous things. Or sometimes if you have a bookshelf that you want to, or in your closet shelves that, you know, you pile up your t-shirts and they flop over, well, okay, maybe a fabric bin would be helpful. But it's less about those kind of consumer driven purchasey type things. It's, you know, often having less. Alyssa, what do you think?
I agree 100%. So that's a question I often get before starting sessions is, what can I buy? And I say, don't buy anything, because we're probably going to shop your house. Oftentimes, like you said, there's more bins than are already needed. And over categorization can be a common problem. It's like, well, if I divide it into all these categories, it will make it easier to organize. But sometimes it actually just makes it more difficult to get organized when you have too many categories. So I try to look at space and function and figure out, how is this going to work best for the space and for the way that it's being used. And yeah, so don't ever buy bins unless you take measurements and you're 100% sure of like what you're using them for and that they're going to function really well for the purpose. I never suggest the Dollar Tree like bin buying.
And if there is going to be a solution of a thing, it's always done at the end. Once you've simplified, culled, you know, and you are remaining like, oh, I only have 10 items that I'm actually going to be keeping and organizing versus the 47 that I had. So the solution often will come at the end too.
Perfect. We have time for one more question. I did see that my mom had her hand up, but I'm afraid she's going to say, get your kids to come and pick up their stuff from their house. I knew it, Mom.
No, that's not it. That's not it. It's more important. It's more important than that.
You're on, Mom.
Oh, thank you. I have a question for Eileen Reed. I had to write it down because it's long. Please advise how to get organized to sell your home, and who to use to evaluate and sell items such as paintings, antiques, china, books, crystal, everything, Eileen, except the very few things that I want to take with us.
Okay, boy, that's a loaded question, my friend. So first of all, start early. If you are thinking of moving in 2 years, now is the time to start. Let's not wait 1 year. Let's not have it be, you know, an 11th hour scramble. But here's the other thing too, and this might not land as well as we hope, but it's hard to sell things these days because especially the china, the antiques, the things that are so valuable and meaningful and maybe you paid a lot of money for 50 years ago, the market, the demand today for those types of things, it's just shrunk. Millennials, young people today, they're looking for less. They're looking for not the big 4-piece dining room set. They're looking for, maybe houses don't even have dining rooms, some that are being built now. It's a very different world. So sometimes donating these things is really the best answer. However, there are probably some estate selling companies in wherever you live, wherever you live, and you might want to just interview a couple of them. There's also companies called Max Sold, which they will come in, take pictures of everything and buy the lot of your stuff essentially, and then have online auctions. But the demand these days is not what it was even 20 years ago.
Thanks, Eileen. Hopefully she's moving up here.
Oh, nice. Come on.
I would just like to echo what you just said. I was an antique dealer for 10 years, and you know, the market really has just bottomed out, especially in the pandemic and with all of the economic uncertainty right now. So yes, finding some place where you can donate it, maybe give it to your favorite charity to use in an upcoming auction or something like that to make funds for the cat shelter you've always loved, or whatever your thing is. Try to or just have friends come over. My mother did this. She had a whole bunch of beautiful old glass, and she filled the dining room table with it and had people come over for tea, and all her friends left with 1 or 2 pieces. And now that my mother's gone, everyone says, it's just so nice. I used your mother's cake stand the other day, and it's special, you know? So that's a good thing too.
That's a beautiful idea, Lynn. Thank you. All right, we are at our time limit. I just want to thank Eileen and Alyssa for sharing with us today. Yeah, thank you. Thank you both. Thanks everybody for being here. We are coming back to you next week, all through June on Wednesday and Friday. So be sure to join us. We've got some great ones again next week. Thank you and enjoy this beautiful weather. Thanks everybody.